Want to know what you actually need in the classroom? Then stick around, because in this video I'm sharing with you some classroom must-haves that you will actually use. I'm Rachel Vincent, and I share tips on how to run an effective and efficient classroom so that you thrive as a teacher. One of the most common questions I see all the time in Facebook groups, on Teachergram, is when a teacher goes to a new grade level, they say, let me know what are some must-have items for teaching 3rd grade or for teaching 4th grade, or I just got my first classroom, what do I need for my classroom? And honestly, a lot of things. Let's just be honest, you need a lot of things. There are so many things you can get as a teacher, but I'm gonna narrow it down to some things that I use all the time in my classroom. And the number one thing that I will tell anybody and everybody are books. You need books for your students, and lots of books, because when you have lots of students and they have 3 to 4 books apiece, that's a lot of books. So find places like Goodwill, garage sales, used bookstores, teacher Facebook groups that are like a buy, sell, trade type of Facebook group. Facebook Marketplace actually will sell, parents will sell books that their children are no longer reading. Scholastic, they have a great book opportunity where you can get points and you can use those points to buy books. That's how I built the majority of my classroom library. So finding places where you can get lots of books for cheap. If a teacher is retiring, go find them and see if you can either buy or they'll give them to you often. So books, books, books are my number one thing that teachers need for their classroom. The second thing that I always suggest are organizational bins, baskets, drawers, however, whatever you want to use to organize your classroom. You're going to need lots of things to keep those classroom books organized. You're going to want things to keep papers organized and student materials, all the books, tubs, bins, baskets. And this time of the year is when they are aplenty in all the stores, in the Target Dollar Spot, at Dollar Tree, at Big Lots, Walmart, Hobby Lobby. They all are selling those things right now. So stock up. I would suggest finding neutral colors, colors that you know you will use for the long haul, so you don't have to repurchase them again because you're no longer doing that color scheme in your classroom. These next two things are honestly, they're not must-haves, but they're must-haves for me. And I like having them myself because then I don't have to rely on it being available at school, or I don't have to worry about another teacher using that. And that is a laminator and a paper cutter. And both of these items you can get relatively cheap, and it makes working on projects so much easier. I use it at home all the time during the back to school season. I've taken it to the classroom before, but it's one of those things that I like to do while I'm watching TV at night, so that I'm cutting and laminating and cutting and all of that stuff, so that I can do it while watching TV and still feel like I'm getting things done for school. I remember my first few years of teacher, like scouring places for dry erase boards. And they are not super cheap. Now, sometimes you can find them in like the Target Dollar Spot or at Dollar Tree at this time of the year for fairly cheap. But when I first started teaching, you had to buy them from like the big classroom companies, and they were expensive. I wish I would have known then how effective and useful the dry erase pocket sleeves are. Those are fantastic to just put a white piece of paper in there and then have them use it. They erase. I love the fact that I can put templates or worksheets in there for students to work on as well. They are just one of the best investments. And then I would suggest getting like the skinny dry erase markers. The big ones are great, but when they're working in those smaller areas, especially older students in like upper elementary, the space to write is smaller. Getting the skinny dry erase markers are perfect for that. The next thing I would highly suggest is to invest in an HP printer that is compatible with HP Instant Ink. I have my printer right here. It's an HP Envy. And I love that I never run out of ink. The HP Instant Ink program connects through Wi-Fi, and it can read your ink levels so that when you start to run low on ink, they will mail you ink before you run out. So when you do run out, you are ready to put a new one in, because there is nothing worse than being in the middle of printing something and running out of ink. They have different tiered subscription programs, and I just use the $5 one because I felt I'd have to spend 60 bucks on ink at least once a year anyway, so to me it justified the price for $5 a month. You get unlimited printing as far as how much ink you use, because they base it on pages. So I believe the $5 a month is 100 pages, and so it doesn't matter how much ink I can print. Every single one of those colored ink, it doesn't matter how many cartridges I go through, I just get 100 pages, which I love that feature. And that baby will be working hardcore in the next few weeks as I get ready for back to school. It is 100% worth the investment. When it comes to furniture for your classroom, especially those higher priced items, whether it's carpet or flexible seating or things that just tend to be a little bit more expensive, my suggestion is to choose one of those items a year, because otherwise you can blow through your whole budget on that one item. So this year, my big ticket item is our classroom carpet. I needed to replace our other one after many years of use. It was time. So that is my big ticket item this year. So I would suggest planning that. So don't try to go out and get a classroom carpet, plus a couch, plus flexible seating, plus some shelves or whatever it may be. Think about that big pricey item and do one item a year and build it as you go. When you look at pictures on Pinterest and internet and Instagram, a lot of those classrooms are from years of building and buying these things. You do not have to get all of this your first few years of teaching. Just build it as you go. I am planning on creating a video on how you can save money in your classroom, places to shop, things to do so that you can help with that budget, because we all know that buying things for our classroom, we don't necessarily have to do, but many teachers enjoy it. They enjoy making their classroom homey, a place we spend so much of our time, we want to enjoy that space. So make sure that you have subscribed and turn the bell notifications on so that you are notified when that video is live. And also, what you buy for your classroom also depends on what grade level you teach. If you are a primary teacher, there's going to be different things you need than maybe an upper elementary teacher. So let me know in the comments below what grade you'll be teaching this fall.